Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're going to get tax sense, smart about Minnesota taxes
Yes.
with an expert. And this is Alenka from Igor Dykny, CPA.
Hello.
So Alenka, you might be surprised
Yes.
how many deductions and credits are hiding in plain sight, even for, somebody who thinks they know what's going on with their taxes.
Yeah.
So buckle up, folks, because we're about to uncover some serious savings potential.
That's right. Minnesota offers a range of benefits that people often miss, and it can really add up to significant savings.
Now, I know these can be a little bit tricky sometimes, so let's walk through it like I'm filing my Minnesota taxes for the very first time.
Okay, sure. So let's start with deductions,
Okay.
which lower your taxable income and ultimately your tax bill.
Okay, so what's the first one that comes to mind?
Well, let's say you have children in grades K through 12.
Okay.
There's the K-12 education subtraction, which lets you deduct expenses for their education.
Wow.
Whether they're in public or private school or even homeschool.
So even if I'm not itemizing on my federal return,
Exactly.
Minnesota's still giving me a break for those education costs.
Exactly. This deduction covers a variety of expenses, including tuition, tutoring, and supplies.
Okay, fantastic. And I'm a pretty charitable person. I like to donate to causes I believe in.
Oh, that's wonderful. And Minnesota recognizes that
Yeah.
through the charitable contributions subtraction.
Okay.
Even if you take the standard deduction federally, you can subtract 50% of donations exceeding $500 on your Minnesota return.
So my generosity can actually lower my state taxes.
Exactly. It's a win-win.
That's awesome. Now, a lot of people I know rely on Social Security benefits during retirement.
Right.
Does Minnesota offer any tax relief there?
Absolutely. The Social Security income subtraction can be a big help for retirees.
Okay.
This subtraction allows you to subtract some or even all of your Social Security benefits
Ah,
from your taxable income.
okay.
The amount you can subtract depends on your total income. So if your income is below a certain threshold, you can subtract all of your benefits.
So there are income limits.
Yes, there are specific thresholds.
Okay.
For example, if you're married, filing jointly,
Okay.
and your total income is below $105,380,
Gotcha.
you can subtract all of your Social Security benefits.
And what if my income is a little bit higher than that?
Even if your income is above the threshold, you might still qualify for a partial subtraction.
Correct.
So it's definitely worth looking into.
So you don't lose out completely.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
There's a phase out, so the amount you can subtract gradually decreases as your income rises.
That makes sense. Okay.
But even those with higher incomes could still see some tax savings.
That's great. Now I'm also, saving for my kids' college education. I hear about these 529 plans all the time.
Yeah, 529 plans are a great way to save for college.
Are there any Minnesota tax benefits?
Yes, definitely. Minnesota offers a deduction for contributions to 529 plans. This can be particularly attractive because you might be eligible for federal tax benefits as well.
So double dipping.
You can benefit from either the state deduction or the federal tax credit,
Okay.
but not both in the same year.
Gotcha. So choose wisely.
Exactly.
So we've talked about deductions. Are there other ways to save on my Minnesota taxes?
We've only just scratched the surface. We still need to explore the world of tax credits.
Ooh, okay.
And these can be even more valuable because they directly reduce your tax liability dollar for dollar.
Sounds like a game changer.
They definitely can be.
All right, well, let's take a quick break, and then we'll dive into those credits when we come back.
Sounds great.
Okay, so let's dive into these credits you mentioned.
Right.
So
Sure.
they sound like a potential game changer for my tax return.
They absolutely can be. Let's start with the K-12 education credit.
Okay.
This credit can help offset those same educational expenses we talked about earlier. Tuition, tutoring, supplies.
So is it like a double bonus for investing in my kids' education?
Well, you can benefit from one or the other.
Okay.
So you can either take the deduction or the credit for those expenses,
Okay, gotcha.
but not both.
Gotcha.
However, unlike the deduction, the credit is refundable,
Okay.
which means you could get money back,
Wow.
even if you don't owe any taxes.
That's incredible.
Right.
Okay, what about working families?
Yeah,
Are there any tax credits that could help with those financial strains?
definitely. Minnesota has the Working Family Credit, which is designed to support working families with low to moderate incomes.
Okay.
And the amount you receive depends on your income and family size.
Okay, so could that be a big help for some families?
Yeah, it can be a significant benefit.
Okay. And speaking of families, What about childcare costs? Those can be a huge burden.
Absolutely. Childcare costs can really add up, but Minnesota offers a child and dependent care credit to help offset those expenses.
Oh, yeah.
This credit is also refundable.
Okay.
And what's really interesting is that even if you don't qualify for the federal child care credit, you might still be eligible for the Minnesota credit.
Wow. So even if I hit a roadblock federally, Minnesota might still have my back.
Exactly. And there's another unique aspect to this credit.
Okay.
Minnesota actually offers a credit for newborn children.
Oh, wow.
Even if you didn't have any childcare expenses during the year.
But I can get a credit even if I didn't pay for childcare.
It's true. It's a way for Minnesota to support families.
That's amazing.
Welcoming new little ones.
Right.
So you can receive up to $600 per newborn.
Wow.
Regardless of your income or whether you owe taxes.
That's great. Okay. Shifting gears a little bit, I have a friend who is a teacher, and she's considering getting her master's degree.
Okay.
Are there any tax benefits for educators?
Definitely. Minnesota offers a master's degree in teaching credit, which can help cover the cost of tuition fees, books, and other instructional materials for eligible master's programs.
So she could enhance her skills, potentially boost her earning potential, and get some tax relief along the way.
Exactly. It's a win-win-win.
That's fantastic. Are there any other situations, like what about student loans, renters, or even long-term care planning? Are there any credits for those?
Yes, there are. Minnesota has a student loan credit for those making student loan payments.
Okay.
A renter's credit to help offset some of the costs of renting.
Okay.
And a long-term care insurance credit to encourage people to plan for their future long-term care needs.
Wow. So it sounds like Minnesota has a credit for nearly every stage of life.
They really do try to support residents through various circumstances.
That's great.
And we haven't even touched on one of the most impactful credits.
Right.
The child tax credit.
Okay, tell me more about that one.
The child tax credit is fully refundable and provides up to $1,750 per qualifying child under 17.
All right.
And here's the key. You can receive the full credit even if you don't owe any taxes or have no earned income.
So even stay-at-home parents
Yes.
or those receiving Social Security benefits
Exactly.
could still benefit.
Absolutely. And starting in 2025, there will be an advance payment option.
Oh, wow.
So you could actually receive half of the credit in monthly installments throughout the year.
Oh, that's a game changer for families who need that extra cash flow.
Yeah, it can make a big difference.
Wow, we covered so much ground today. Olenka, this has been incredibly insightful.
It's been my pleasure.
I'm feeling much more informed.
It's important to remember that we've only highlighted some of the most common credits and deductions.
Okay.
There are many more niche tax breaks available.
Yeah, sure.
Depending on your individual circumstances.
Yeah, I can definitely see how having an expert in my corner would be invaluable.
Absolutely.
So how can our listeners figure out which of these credits and deductions they qualify for?
Well, that's where a qualified tax professional comes in. They can help you sift through the complexities of the tax code and ensure you're maximizing your tax benefits.
So it's like having a treasure map to guide you through the world of taxes.
That's a great analogy.
So it seems like there's always something new to learn when it comes to taxes. Is there anything else I should keep in mind as I start preparing for this upcoming tax season?
Well, it's crucial to remember that tax laws are constantly evolving.
Yeah, that's a good point.
What applied last year might not apply this year.
Yeah.
So staying informed is essential.
It feels like hitting a moving target sometimes.
Right.
How can people stay up to date on all these changes?
The Minnesota Department of Revenue website is a fantastic resource.
Okay.
They have detailed information on the latest tax laws.
Gotcha.
Forms publications, all sorts of helpful stuff.
And of course, consulting with a qualified tax professional, like the experts at Igor Dechny CPA, can provide personalized guidance tailored to your specific situation.
Absolutely. They can help you navigate those complexities and uncover those hidden gems.
Like we were talking about.
Exactly.
Well, Olenka, I can't thank you enough for walking us through all of this today. This deep dive into Minnesota tax deductions and credits has been incredibly eye-opening.
It's been my pleasure.
I feel like we've only just scratched the surface.
We have, but hopefully this gives your listeners a good starting point.
Yeah.
And encourages them to be proactive about their taxes.
Definitely knowledge is power, especially when it comes to your money.
Absolutely.
So listeners, we encourage you to visit the Igor Dechny CPA website for more information and personalized advice. And remember, stay curious and keep exploring those tax-saving opportunities.
Thanks for having me.
Until next time on The Deep Dive.